Yeah. They've been watching us all year. Man, they can't broadcast like we broadcast. Man, they can't love you like I love you. Let's talk. Yeah. Yeah, all these stations in the city get jealous when we link, tryna copy every move, tryna buy it how we think. They can't handle how you glow when you tune into me. Got them sick, insecure, full of jealousy. All these frequencies around us tryna pull you away, but you loyal to the wave that they just can't play. Let them hate, let them cry, let them plot what they plot. Everything envy the one they want, but now what they got. Yeah, I told you from the jump, I'm the signal they fear. Every station in the region wanna whisper in your ear, but they static when they talk, and I hear with precision. They just playlist with ads, I'm a whole damn vision. Digital ops lurking, terrestrial ones too. Trying to win your attention, but you only want truth. They've been running weak promos, trying to mimic my tone, but you tune into a king, you won't downgrade your throne. You told me they bore you, I excite what you feel. You said they drop filler, I drop passion, that's real. They beg for your time, I just command it with ease. Got them coughing up envy every time you breathe. All these stations in the city get jealous when we link, trying to copy every move, trying to buy how we think. They can't handle how you glow when you tune into me. Got them sick, insecure, full of jealousy. All these frequencies around us trying to pull you away, but you loyal to the wave that they just can't play. Let them hate, let them cry, let them plot what they plot. Everything envy the one they want, but now what they got. They call you on a low, trying to win you with fame, but they signals too weak to compete with my flame. I give you interviews, live, I give you truth.
Hey, what's up with y'all? How's everybody doing? It's your boy Bach, EverythingDMV Radio, and we are at it again. We're going into a part two interview with a very notable author, poet, creative here. And if you haven't seen the first one, definitely go check that one out on EverythingDMV.com, YouTube, Facebook, all those good places as well. And tap in with her. Her stage name is Sweet Sugar Cane, and she also goes by Sharice Alford. And this is part two of her wonderful book that she put out, that I recommend that everyone gets an opportunity to read and to see the elevation of this author and how she is reaching everyone in the world. So with no further ado, we have the young lady here herself, Miss Sweet Sugar Cane.
Thank you for tuning in with us.
Hello. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you for having me again. I'm good. I'm blessed. Can't
Absolutely. Part two.
Part two.
Yes, we are back. How's everything been going?
It's been going. I can't complain at all. Just being consistently just writing and just, moving along with life as it goes. Life just seems like it's just picking up pace every time you turn around, man. So you're just trying to keep up with everything.
Yeah. No, you hit that right on the head. It is just moving so fast. So many things going on at once.
Yes.
Balance. I'm telling you. The balance. So for me, just came from the Whammies last night, where they represent creatives. It was a wonderful space. Yeah.
Was it like, did they do like poetry artists, or is just certain type of artists?
So yes, just this one was hosted by the Music Menship, which is they focus on music. This was the 37th year of doing the Whammies and recognizing local talent and artists.
That's nice.
It was amazing. Like I couldn't have asked for a better experience. But that was my first one.
Okay.
Out of 37 years.
Okay, congrats.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just amazing to be there. And I think I did a good job with meeting people, connecting, networking. It's a
Oh,
great networking opportunity
okay, that's
to,
nice.
yeah, meet a lot of people. So, um, so for those people who don't know you, can you just, introduce yourself and, tell them who you are, give them a little background about you, before,
Ooh,
jump right in
okay.
case they caught part two without seeing part one.
Okay,
Let's
okay,
just
okay. A
go
little
through it.
intro.
Yeah.
I'm Sharissa Alford. I also go by Sweet Sugarcane the Poet. I'm a self-published author since 2016. So this year, ladies and gentlemen, is gonna make my 10th year anniversary. I'm super excited about that. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. As far as what I've written in the past, I've done lately on my bed one, two, and three. Not currently available, but those are like self-help book. I try to write from perspective. I treat perspective like it's its own genre, so I'm big on that. So those books are not available. I've done erotic poetry in the past, erotic uh, project with couple of my friends. Those are no longer available. If you checked out the first one, you'll understand I no longer do the erotic pieces and stuff like that. And so right now I'm in focusing on writing this obedience series that I'm trying to get into. I did my last, well, I did my, this book, Great Obedience, the first one last year, put it out. This is the first time we're doing a book reading for it. And hopefully we put out a new book. I will put out a new book, God's willing, this year. So I'm excited about that. What else do I need to put out there? Uh, yeah. So yeah, I think that's all I got.
All right, all right. No, perfect, perfect, perfect. So, again, for those who are here for the first time, thank you for being here. Shout out everybody across YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and IG. So let's get into it. So I have this first question here for you: is
Okay.
um, outside of the normal definition of obedience, which
Okay.
is being compliant with an order, request, a law, or submission to another's authority. Do you define obedience in another way?
Yes and no. When it comes to us as what we grew up with as being obedient to our parents and authority and all of that, no, my definition hasn't changed. But when it came to obedience to God, it did change. For me, it became after just kind of observing that God wanted me to write about that, it just became like currency. All the thought about was currency. Like if you were to give God something, in a currency form, obedience would be that, and I try very hard to find ways to make people visualize, like see things from God's perspective, but obedience will be that currency.
Wow, wow, wow. So, with that, what made you write about obedience?
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't come up with obedience by myself because, I mean, on the outside, I look, like I'm a very obedient person. But on the inside, I would say I'm not up to par. I wasn't up to par, so I would have never thought about writing about obedience. And at the time, I was going through my own moment where you're having self reflection of, like, there's certain things that you kind of let sit in your mind, in your heart. I was having that type of moment. So, like, I was not thinking about that. That's something that God placed in my heart to do, of all people. But then, if you read the Bible, you kind of see He always does stuff like that to us, right? It's not when we are perfect that He asks us to do certain things. It's when we're falling, the opposite of what He wants us to do, when He asks us, step in place and be the example, right? So,
Right, right.
yeah.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, with that said, what um or the obedience,
Hmm.
what God deserves
Yeah.
The book, how did that influence the titling of that?
Um, I guess for me, I was trying to imagine what that would look like. I was trying to, like I said, I always try to find a way to capture um, what God has done for us over the years. And one of the thought that I hold on to is hearing the thought generation after generation. We hear that over and over and again. I'm like, God, what does generation after generation even look like? How many generations have there been, and how much more is there going to be? And the closest thing that I could visualize is a movie theater, right?
Mm,
And in the movie
yeah.
theater, just keep it empty. Sometimes you walk into a movie theater and there's barely anybody in there, you know and I'm like, so he called all of us to be obedient, but only a couple people show up in every generation. What I'm saying? And I'm like, how does that look like you have thousands, or you call for thousands, but only 10 people show up in that generation? And I'm like, how patient is he on us that he's willing to let another generation come into fulfillment, even though only 10 people responded to him, right? And I'm like, when you think about that, generation after generation of God being patient, and he only taking two from that generation, 10 from that generation. I'm like, what else can you offer to God but great obedience? When you think about that, he's putting up
Yeah.
with us. So yeah.
Wow. 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 No, you're so right in that, demonstration, that visual of, who's showing up, you know,
Yeah.
and that's amazing to, see that and to be able to speak on that.
So next
Um,
time you go to the movie theater, think about that for a second.
yeah, that's
How
gonna be,
many
yeah,
people
it's
is in
like
there?
that. These empty
Yeah.
seats, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Wow, wow, wow. So, who's your target audience? Is it adults, and
Hmm.
why and what makes you write in this storytelling kind of like format, like bedtime story.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like what we were talking about a little bit the last time with storytelling. Storytelling shouldn't have an age limit on that. It never used to be like that before we had television and all of that stuff. That's something that started back in the beginning with Adam and Eve. When they came out the garden, they had their kids. The kids started doing what? Sacrifice, right? But how did they learn about sacrifice? They had to hear stories from their parents. So that's something that we've always had. And it just seemed like the more we are in the world, the more sensual we are in the world, we kind of move away from certain things that it's like storytelling. Like I don't know. It's like, to me, they're doing a lot to kind of take away the innocence from us as adults. Like it's not okay for us to have anything like that. We have to be very sensuous. And I honestly, for me, I don't really even care for that. But that's kind of why. But that's kind of why I did it in the storybook format, because why not? I mean, when you go to work and you come home from a crazy week, you need something, and you're trying to be a good Christian. You're trying to have something that pulls you back into God. Sometimes you don't even want to run to the Bible, so why not have a storybook that kind of puts you where God wants you to be? Sometimes people look at the Bible and they get intimidated by the Bible. They don't want to read the Bible, but when you look at the Bible, you should be able to sum up what the Bible is about. God wants obedience. So that's the whole point of writing a storybook on obedience, so that when you come home, you could go to something like this and that will reset your mind. Even if you don't read the whole thing, it could reset your mind on, this is what God wants from me. This is what God wants from Sharice and whoever, whatever it is, obedience, and then allow that to take you back into reading the Bible. Yeah.
No, amazing, amazing. That is, to have that vision and to be able to, put that back into the place for us as adults,
Yeah.
is a good place, because a lot of times they say we lose all of that when
Yeah.
we grow up and we get into this world of
Yeah.
what we have to do, responsibility, and all of this
Yeah.
and that we don't have that mindset as a child anymore
Yeah.
to
And
still
a lot
stay.
has been done to take that away from us.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. um what do you want your audience to take away from this book?
From this book, I want my audience to take away that this is not just something to just pick up and read, like you just enjoy it and put it down. This is really something to meditate on. This is about pondering, what obedience look like to God, what it looks like to you offering it to God. So for the book in itself, it has a lot of questions, and it's not about quizzing you or whatever it is, but again, to really make you like sit in it and figure that out, so that's kind of what I want my audience to not just pick it up and just like, okay, it's a good read and just put it down. No, keep using it over and over. Let it bring you to that point where you're sitting down like, okay, am I being obedient to God, and what you're going to do about it, understand um how, I mean, we all go to church, but what about when you're home? Like, you should have those moments where you are questioning, am I being obedient to God, or what can I do, or whatever it is. And so sometimes it's good to have that help, that aid. And yes, it is a storybook, and you might want to read it at nighttime, but it's something that you can read any time of the day. So, yeah.
Yes. Perfect. So what is
Hmm.
obedience to God, and why is that important?
Obedience to God is pretty much denying the flesh overall, choosing Him over the flesh in itself. That's obedience to God. Let me see. And why is it that important? Like I said before, that's the only currency. Everything that we have in this world that is good belongs to God. So there's nothing that we can offer, truly offer and say, okay, God, because you this and this and this and this, here, this is what I'm offering. You cannot give it back to Him because it actually belongs to Him. So obedience is the only thing that you could give back to Him, you know?
Wow.
So
Wow. Yeah, no, that is amazing.
that
That
is,
is
you
amazing.
got to speak, just like you have to speak certain people's language, you got to speak God's language. Obedience that's when you start getting God to talk to you. Some people are like, oh, God has never talked to me. Are you obedient?
Yeah,
Are you speaking
yeah.
His language? So,
Right, right. Nah, that is amazing. That's this is such a great topic. This is such a great book. This is such a great, evaluation tool.
hmm
Um, deep thought. Um, wow, no, I love this. I love this. I think the best thing would be to, let them, get some insight on this book
yeah,
from the author through a reading. So if you have some time, maybe you can go ahead and give them
definitely.
some of the story.
Absolutely. I love to. I love to. All right.
Awesome.
So let me show the book cover again, What God Deserves. This is the first one. All right. If we're just going to start from the beginning here. Okay. Here we go. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Longing to be everything else except your original designs allows the world to break your heart, harass you, and inject your mind with confusion, leaving you trying to survive on shattered emotions. True self satisfaction will not arrive when we convince others that God made a mistake with our design. So, why let the world molest your peace only to leave you in pieces? Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. How can the product argue with its manufacturer about errors and perfection but harness no skill to shape itself without the aid of its maker? The clay to the potter. And that's the next chapter. The clay can never be to the potter what the potter is to the clay, for the clay can never create the potter. However, the potter who created the clay can choose how and when to form, reform, or snuff out the clay without permission. If the goal of the potter is to fulfill the clay, why would the clay resist the act of fulfillment? If fulfillment gives birth to purpose, why deny what brings endurance and prosperity? If prosperity excels beyond the limits of the mind and breathes life into what was once unknown, how do you reward the Creator with ungratefulness when the last piece of the puzzle calls for only obedience? Is there such a day when the clay created by the potter dares to question its origin? If the potter creates a vase out of the clay, shall the clay say, I refuse to be used? Shall the vase refuse to hold water even though that was its original purpose? How can the thing that was formed, that's unable to create itself, find boldness somewhere in its depths to question and challenge its creator? If the clay truly understand its place, humbleness and unending praise and adoration would be its only response. True love provides the choice to choose. It is a gift that offers the option to refuse. For love encages no one. So why did the mankind manipulate choice and bring about division and destruction? Question to ponder. If God Almighty created all of life, then who are we to question Him and with what authority? Think about that. Verily, verily, I say unto you, some things in life are not asked for, they are expected. Imagine something owed to you being withheld just because you did not beg. How frustrated would you be? Instead of unleashing chaos, you send peaceful warnings as a last resort because ignorance is bliss and those who offended you are no match for your power. The very idea that the creator of life had to ask for obedience is perhaps the greatest insult of all time. When when will mankind finally understand that God is our potter and we are his clay? While most of creation was spoken into existence, we were formed in his image. He did not speak us into existence, he formed us with his hands and then loaned us the breath of life. The greatest of all creations, ladies and gentlemen, is you. No currency on this earth can repay God for his time and work because all we have are his. The gift of life is not without giving an account to the one who created all things. Next chapter, act of obedience. Obedience is an act of submission due unto God. Trusting in him and showing reverence is the rightful currency that he is entitled to without a request. Our obedience, our behavior has been unacceptable since we discovered as an option. Understanding that our Creator is the essence of true love, testing His grace and mercy has been humanity's downfall. Time and time again, we have acted like spoiled children, throwing tantrums, fully aware that our parents would hand out a warning or two. So we continued misbehaving until they reached their boiling point, only to beg for mercy when a much needed whooping was given. And after the whooping, we began to resent them because they did not offer grace and mercy like all the other times before. Bad behaviors do not get rewarded with applause and gifts. God's character is merciful. He is the opposite of everything we deserve. It is time for all to acknowledge this truth. Though He wants good for us generation after generation, we constantly refuse His will and are quick to abuse His kindness. It's rather clear we believe in delusions of the mind, for it has become our mental delicacy here on earth. How many attempts will be made trying to conform God's will to that of humanity? When will we understand that He is God and we are His creation? God is spirit. God is a spirit. He cannot and will not be tempted by the things we fall prey to. As a people, we are so out of touch with our spiritual side, yet arrogantly convinced that we can subdue the creator of heavens and earth. Avoiding and denying the one true God all the days of your life will only take you so far because Judgment Day has an appointed clock for all who refuse His will. It is better for mankind to pursue God now while His grace and mercy can be found. His words are forever true and will never return to Him void. He is Alpha and Omega. Stop believing that we are different from the past generations. We are not. Our willingness to follow misguided traditions from old days keep us in the constant drunkenness. Anything that hints at wisdom is seen as an abomination because ignorance is golden in the eyes of each beholder. These souls are slowly marinated in corruption. Soon all drive to fight will cease to exist. Crookedness is the poison all will drink when the lust of the heart has taken over. In the dead of night, evil has already begun prostituting its young. Bodies are found with organs missing, and the animals of the wild roar in unison. We are not responsible. Some say they believe in nothing, while others say they believe in deities of earth, wind, and fire, of Mars and Jupiter, tarot cards and crystals, and some believe in anything and everything. Do not let the world convince you that there are many paths to choose. There are only two paths, good or evil. The gift of choice is not complicated or multifaceted. Trying to add style and dimensions does not change the outcome of anything. The knowledge of good and evil held the weight of the curse, for accountability for one's action could not and will not be avoided. No man or woman born in sin can ever undo the first act of disobedience. Remember, Adam and Eve were created by God's hand and were without sin, yet they disobeyed the command of God. This proves that we can do wrong without the presence of sin. When we boldly lean on our own understanding alone as the main source of wisdom, the reign of disobedience begins. The first act of disobedience could not be reversed by mere man, which is why the Son of God had to come into the world, for the true price of salvation comes at an incalculable price. The decision to disobey God was made from the standpoint of want versus need. They needed nothing because God created and placed them in a flourishing garden. They knew nothing beyond what they observed and were allowed to understand. Their wisdom was perfect and lacked nothing as long as they kept their eyes on God. Our generation of people could not compete with the first man and woman because their wisdom was purely and directly from God, the true source of all good things. Today, everyone relies on friends, strangers, the internet, and scientific myths trying to convince us that we are only using 10% of our brain power. If the opportunity had presented itself in the same situation as Adam and Eve, our decision making would be no different, seeing we have a knack for being rebellious. Looking at how we are as people and how we treat each other every day is a disgrace. We have become lovers of ourselves, always trying to prove something to someone. Based on our levels of ignorance and entitlement, we would have eaten the fruit of good and evil much sooner just for spite. It is very easy to sit back and say how dumb or how selfish they were to not heed to God's command, because we are not to blame for the greatest act of disobedience that affected all of mankind. If we, who were born in sin, felt that we could have made better decisions than Adam and Eve, then pre-tell why disobedience has been the song that choruses from generation to generation without rehearsal. Whenever God had to look for all who were obedient and righteous to him, the numbers were and are always lacking. We can't even stop being disobedient to ourselves. When was the last time you did not betray your conscience? How many times has it warned you, yet you were disobedient, and it almost cost you in some way? And I'm going to stop right there, unless you want me to continue to the end.
No, that's amazing. Great, 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 great. Wow, you really touching on the things that need to be recognized and need to be visually seen.
Absolutely.
Pictures in my head. Um, wow, wow. So if they want to get a more understanding, if they want to tap in more, get deeper into the conversation, into the book, how can they do that? How can they find
They can go on my website. They could go on sweetsugarcanethepoet.com and order my book. They can go on Amazon. They could order my book. If they wanted to get a signed copy, they can actually DM me in regards to that. But that's how they could get a copy of my book. Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. You've been wonderful. We appreciate you coming and sharing this knowledge.
Thank you for having me again.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I want to have you come back again. So this
absolutely,
is
absolutely.
second of many, many, many more.
Let me see who we have in here. Do we have anybody in here? I wanted to keep my promise. Thank you. I wanted to keep my promise. We did say the first two people I will give away a book copy.
So we have, let's go to the chat.
I see a Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie.
There's a Stephanie, and who was the second person that came in here?
We have Jewel. We have Chibi, and we have Stephanie.
Okay, that's all right. That's okay. Thank you guys for joining us. So I'll be nice. Since only 3 people in here, definitely if you guys decide you want to DM me on Instagram, Sweet Sugar Cane the Poet, I'll send you guys a copy of What God Deserves, Part 1. So just send me all information.
Awesome. Yeah. So those are the ones who made the comment. In total, we have some more.
You say you love chocolate. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely get the others to send over something as well. But just to connect with you. But no, I want to thank you again. It's always a great time with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good times. And then you're doing good work, you know. At the same time, you know, this is I feel like this is a ministry as well.
Yes, so, it is. It is. I'm taking it another step further. But we'll talk about that next time, perhaps.
Yes. Awesome. Perfect. Thanks so much. See you soon.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. God bless you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Take care.